Imagine spending months building backlinks only to realize ChatGPT ignores them completely. The rules of ranking in AI search are not what you think. And once you see how it works, you'll never optimize the same way again. But to truly understand them, we need to start with the OG, Google search. Then I'll show you 3 strategies that work for ChatGPT if you want to start ranking today.
Let's go.
Google runs on an optimization contest. Crawlers scan billions of pages, count every keyword, measure every backlink, and even track how users click and stick around. The page with the strongest signals wins. That's why SEO became a game of optimization. Titles, headers, page speed, EAT, they all matter because Google rewards them in real time. But ChatGPT doesn't play that game at all. ChatGPT runs on 2 things. It's training data and retrieval augmented generation, also known as RAG. The training data is fixed. If your content was included before the cutoff, great. If not, there's no way to optimize your way back in. When it does pull from the web through RAG, it isn't scoring domain authority, backlinks, or keyword placement. It's scanning for clear, comprehensive answers that it can synthesize into a response. That's a huge shift from Google's optimization game, which means that instead of thinking in keywords like best coffee grinder 2025, you need to think in full natural prompts like I need a grinder that's quiet enough for an apartment but still good for espressos and pour overs. What should I buy? See the difference? So if backlinks, keywords, and domain authority don't matter, what does? ChatGPT isn't ranking content the way Google does. It's pulling from conversations, mentions, and clear answers it can trust. Which means if you want your brand to show up, you need to flip the SEO playbook on its head. Kind of. The first thing you want to do is choose prompts over keywords. We've trained ourselves to think in short keyword phrases. Best coffee grinder 2025, coffee grinder reviews, and so on. That's because Google's system is literally designed to match those terms with optimized pages. But ChatGPT doesn't work like that. Nobody opens it and types best coffee grinder. They write full thoughts like, I live in a quiet apartment, I need a coffee grinder for espressos and pour overs that won't wake my neighbors up at 6 a.m. See the difference? One is a keyword, the other is a conversation. ChatGPT isn't ranking pages by keyword match, it's pulling answers that best fit the full context of the question. So how do you adapt? You stop chasing keyword volume and start listening for prompts. Start with your Google Search Console. Look at those long tail queries, the weird ones, the sentence long ones. Those are how people really think. Think about the types of questions your ideal customer would ask ChatGPT if they were looking for your product. If you're stuck, our AI visibility tool can help suggest prompts to spark some ideas. Check your customer support tickets. Read Reddit threads in your niche. These natural language patterns are what ChatGPT understands. Once you've got those patterns, create content that speaks to them directly. Instead of creating content like best coffee grinders in 2025, create content like coffee grinders for apartment living, quiet options that still pull great espressos. That's how you go from gaming search engines to actually matching how people ask questions in ChatGPT. The second thing you want to do is focus on brand mentions over backlinks. Honestly, this makes me a little happy because it saves me from the endless do follow, no follow stress and a decent chunk of my link building budget. Google cares deeply about links. Who links to you, whether it's a do follow or no follow, how much equity is passed, it's practically a science of its own. But ChatGPT doesn't track link equity. What it cares about is context. If your brand is part of a helpful answer in the source it's pulling from, it'll mention you, link, or no link. Here's an example. Someone on Reddit asking about AI tracking tools. 10 people reply, some include links, some just name drop. ChatGPT isn't scoring those links. It's learning which tools people naturally bring up in the conversation. And it's not just Reddit. Every podcast interview, PR feature, customer review, or quote in an article is a brand mention. Each one teaches ChatGPT where your brand belongs in its answers. So instead of asking yourself, how do I get more backlinks? The better question is, how do I get my brand mentioned in the places ChatGPT trusts? Show up there and citations will follow. The third and final point to take into consideration is topic depth over breadth. Traditional SEO pushed us to chase breadth. Cover every keyword variation. Best coffee grinder, quiet coffee grinder reviews. It worked, but it also meant letting keywords decide how your brand shows up online. But ChatGPT, once again, is different. It wants to know who's the clear authority for this exact type of search. If someone asks, what's the best quiet coffee grinder for apartment living, the source it trusts most is the one that goes deep on grinders for apartments. Noise levels, grind settings, espresso versus pour over performance, and even side-by-side comparisons. Not the site that has a thin page for every grinder under the sun. That means you have to choose. Decide what you want your brand to be known for and go deep on that. Cover the angles, the FAQs, the comparisons, but stay in your lane. Content breadth still matters for visibility, but depth in one direction builds authority. And that's what makes ChatGPT cite you. Look, the backlinks you built aren't worthless. They still work for Google. But if you keep on ignoring how ChatGPT works, your competitors will be the ones getting cited while you're still here counting keyword density. But showing up in ChatGPT is only half the battle. What it says about your brand matters just as much as whether you're mentioned. This next video explains how to know if ChatGPT hates your brand and what to do about it.